That's a dub!
Okay, you've had your fun. Can I have Hannafin now?
Dude, you have no picks and like 3 prospects who your fan base refuses to trade. How are you gonna get them?
What if I gave you something other than a prospector pick?
Like what?
A hug.
No.
An eighth of a bottle of hot sauce.
No.
A cool stick I found that kind of looks like a sword.
No.
A really firm handshake.
No.
My firstborn child.
Gross. And kinda sad.
One of my dogs.
Velma?
Absolutely not, but you can have Larry.
Alright, well what does he do?
Eats rocks, sticks, drywall. He did try to drink paint that one time. He will require an ER visit at least once a month for doing something unfathomably stupid, no matter how well you've dog-proofed your home. And I'm pretty sure he has some sort of form of doggy autism.
Is there any upside?
He's just so damn cute.
No.
Man, you're good at this. You dodged a bullet. He's a nightmare. Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team. That is not a dub. It's not. Got goalied. Sure. Something like that. Took a while to get our feet under us. Yeah, that's absolutely true. This one was a brutal watch through 40 minutes. This was a tough one. The third period was a lot more fun. The overtime, which of course, why is it every time we're in a West Coast swing, we have to go to overtime? Over and over again. Jeez. Why? The Flames aren't good, man. They're not a good team. You watch a game and you can tell they're not a good team. I mean, they struggle to keep the puck out of their net. They struggle to score. Their penalty kill is great. Their power play is abysmal. I mean, we can do this, right? Why can't we do this? Why do I have to give a pep talk? It's the Calgary can't keep a brother in town Flames. Like, what are we doing? How are we struggling so much with this team? Like, earlier in the season, I had so much of an easier time being like, Detroit, I don't think they're great, but they have some good players. They can roll lines a little bit. And hey, sometimes it's just a team that you struggle with, right? It's just a team that you struggle with. That happens. But you watch Calgary play and you go, how the hell are we not beating the crap out of this team? It doesn't even make sense to me. I don't like the style they play. I don't like the way they do really anything. They don't run layers well. Their passing isn't great. It's not crisp. They don't move the puck well. There's just moments where the Bruins give them 6 feet of space per everyone, and they just get to move the puck around. There are times when you go, hey, that team creates a lot of space, and hey, we're just not getting in their face at all. Just a tough start to this one. And I think the Calgary Flames are one of the most beatable teams in the league. Like, they're not a bottom 5 team, sure, but it just feels like any night you should be able to go into their building and walk out with a win. I don't know why this team struggles with them so much. In each of the games, the only 2 games we're playing against them this year, we come out and we give them one of our worst efforts. At least this time it wasn't for the full 60 minutes, but just, we didn't bring it. We didn't bring it for the first 40. And we've talked about this a few times this season. I don't want this to build into some sort of like attitude or whatever, because the Bruins can bring it. We know they can bring it. We've talked about a few times this season how if you allow yourself to start really slow or go down by a goal or 2 or whatever it is, you turn the game of hockey more into that, well, it's a 50-50, right? It just takes one bounce. You give them that opportunity to just have that one bounce. And obviously overtime is whatever, right? It's any team can win in overtime except for the Bruins. We just won in overtime. I'm just being bitter. But we've talked about that. Allowing teams to be in a position where just one bounce means they get to win. And obviously, if I was a Flames fan, I could be saying the same thing in reverse. But it feels like this year, the Bruins over and over again have gotten into these battles of, the next bounce wins it. And it feels like they've allowed that. More so than they like, well, that's as good as they can get. It feels like they've allowed it way too often. Way too often. Stats-wise, Calgary is one of the most mid teams in the league, ranking 17th in goals for per game, 16th in goals allowed per game. And I already mentioned their penalty kills like top 5, and their power play is like bottom 5. So it does appear there should be some changes being made to that lineup soon. As we know, Tanev, Hanifin, Markstrom maybe, they might all be shipped out at the deadline. It looks like they're finally going to embrace a bit of a rebuild. Winning doesn't really help them right now because you'd hate to see them go, wait, what if we have something? And then not trade these guys, and then these guys leave anyway, as we've seen happen to teams in the past. For the Bruins, the lines remain mostly the same, except for Lauko, who... Actually, how many shifts did he get late in this one? Because now that I think about it, I don't remember saying his name much. Oh, yeah. Him and James Van Riemsdyk and Boquist got 3 shifts. Boquist got 4 in the third period. Not good. The bottom 6 was not good in this one at all. Lauko's going to slot in for Brazeau. And before all of you get very upset about this, well, I guess you could still get upset about it. Brazeau was a casualty of the cap because with Grizz also injured, they called up Ian Mitchell. They weren't going to use him tonight. They put Shattenkirk and Forbort together. Lohrei went up to work with Carlo. Wotherspoon went up to work with McAvoy. That didn't last. It ended up being Lohrei and McAvoy for most of this one. But Brazeau, unfortunately, had to get sent back down to the AHL because they needed to make sure that they had a 7th defenseman during this road trip. Where they didn't need the extra forward. Tough, because I'm not saying Brazeau made that line go, but the 4th looked way worse immediately without him. Really bad. And I mean, just the bottom 6 in general. It's just, after a couple of really good games to the 4th line, I don't really want to point out the 3rd line having good games because I don't really think they have. But this was one where like, okay, your bottom 6 wasn't good. Fine. Your top 6 should be able to carry a game or 2. Just didn't work out that way. Lindholm, obviously, still week to week. Grizz is considered day to day, according to Monty. Lower body injury, although we're not getting any more specifics other than that. But let's get right into the like, commenting, and subscribing. Nailed it. Let's get right into this game. It's not going to be a pleasant experience to start. But the best part about the start is the puck drops. Puck drops. That was probably a little loud. It's fine. And 7:06 in. We're 7 minutes and 6 seconds in. The shots are 7-1. The attempts are something like 14-3 in shot attempts. It's excellent. Our one shot on net was actually wide by about a foot, but Markstrom smacked it down with the glove just for funsies, just to feel some sweet, sweet rubber, you know? But Pospisil is going to trip up McAvoy, so we're going to get the first real scoring chance here on the power play. And the power play, how do I put this, is abysmal. Within 30 seconds of the power play starting, we give up a 3-on-1 with a poor choice from Zacha to try to take a puck out of the air, and everything gets behind him immediately. Hanifin is going to keep on this and tries to go 5-hole on Ullmark. He gets the 1-on-1, so might as well take it. I don't hate that choice. Because of that, we actually, save made, we actually get a 3-on-1 the other way, and Marchand tries to deke through the 1 on a 3-on-1. And so we never even get a shot off. And kind of immediately getting outshot 8-1 at this point on the power play. And the power play looks terrible. Just awful. It kind of set you up for going, oh, okay. It's 9:30 p.m. I'm going to be up till 1 in the morning with this stuff. And it's going to be this kind of game. It really got the juices flowing, made sure that you were in it to win it. 7:05 left in the period. Calgary's 11th shot of the period. It's a transition chance for them as Kuzmenko comes over the blue line on the right side, has his line mates basically in a line and goes back diagonal to Shillington, who is just going to hammer this. It's a great shot. It's screened, bottom glove, beats Ullmark. I don't know how much he actually sees this puck, and it's 1-0. The shots are 11-3. That's not great. Luckily, with a minute 19 left of the period, the hockey gods are smiling on us and giving us a little break as there's a pass that gets chipped forward to Marchand, deflects off Marchand's stick and goes in on Markstrom. Markstrom skates way out to get to it, and unfortunately for him, doesn't get a lot of wood on it and ends up just chipping it to the blue line, where Coyle is there to knock it down, and he's got Markstrom 12 feet out of his net, so he just scoots to the right a little bit, launches it bottom corner, and it's 1-1. What a blessing. What a blessing. We've talked about not wasting fourth line goals because fourth line goals don't happen a lot. This past week, we've had a bunch of fourth line goals. Don't waste those efforts. Win those games because you can't rely on that happening all the time. Those should be games you win. Don't waste a goal like this. That was a freebie. You don't get freebies all the time in this league. But not only are we going to waste it, we're going to waste it less than a minute later. As 36.2 seconds left in the period, Geeky's piss-poor defense in the neutral zone. If there is one player in this game who pissed me off more than anyone else, it was Morgan Geeky. I was so high on this signing, and do I think he's just this awful hockey player that doesn't belong on the team? No, not at all. I just want him to be serviceable in a third-line role, and right now, he can't do that for some reason. And I have no idea why. Because I've watched him do it. And I know he can do it. But he's not doing it. He waves his stick at Kadri through the neutral zone with a real chance to get some contact there. So Kadri goes right around him, takes the blue line, scoots his way across to the left side, notices that he has Zari streaking towards the right side on a net front drive, chucks the puck to him. Zari gets the shot off, and unfortunately, Ullmark mishandles this one terribly. Ends up glancing off of his body and then just sitting in the open goal mouth. Carlo didn't react soon enough. He actually should have backed off of Kadri sooner and gotten to the net front. But Pospisil just gets to smack the puck in. There are a few things that are as aggravating as a player smacking the puck into an open net with no contact. Like, he's right there. How do you not at least have a shoulder on that guy? Just a brutal sequence. Starts with Geeky being terrible defensively. Starts with Ullmark then continues with Ullmark mishandling that puck. And then Carlo not clearing out the front of the net. Just not great. And it's 2-1 in the final minute of the period. Shots are 16-8 at the end of the period. The attempts are like 26-12 or something stupid. It's awful. It's awful. The Wotherspoon-McAvoy pairing at this point only lasted a few shifts as they had been outchanced 8-0 during their time together on the ice. It's not even like, hey, let the chemistry build up. You just can't afford that during a game. Let them figure that out and practice and during breaks because you can't afford that during a game. 8-0. Woof. We're going to move on to the second period. And the lines are going to start like this for the second. They wouldn't last like this. They would actually revert back to basically what they started the game with. But Marchand, Coyle, Pasternak, we see that thrown out every now and again. DeBrusk, Boquist, Heinen. So wait, where did Zacha go? Well, the third line stays mostly intact. Richard, Geeky, Frederick. Zacha went down to the fourth line. JVR, Zacha, Lauko. Ooh. If you're trying to send a message, that's a way to send it. That's Monty saying, hey, I don't trust any of you right now. Wake up. This is not okay. 9 minutes left of the period. DeBrusk draws a hooking call by Weegar. We're going to the power play. I got to give credit here. The power play was excellent. 2 or 3 shots that really should have gone in the net, and Markstrom was just bullying these guys out of the net. It was aggravating because I think Markstrom is one of the most overrated goalies in the league, but he was great tonight, so I can't even make that argument. 5:11 left. Lauko gets a breakaway. Markstrom saves that as well. 2:14 left. Pasta hooked by Tanev. We're going to the power play. And then less than a minute into that power play, Pasta's going to go for slashing. It's a terrible call. It's so bad. It is one of those calls that's so blatantly bad that you go, I know you know that's not a call. Like, there's no way you could possibly think that that was a real call. They were trying to make up for what was kind of a tripping earlier. I don't know. it was pretty clear they wanted to call something from earlier, and they're like, let's just get him for this so we can even it up. And that's what they did. So we're going to go in 4v4 for a minute 17. We're going to start the third period with about 30 seconds on the PK, and we kill it off. 2:33 into the third period, Kuzmenko loses the puck in the slot as he tries a wraparound attempt. Richard is the one to collect. Good on Richard. Takes a second, doesn't hesitate, just gets his head up, sees that Coyle has fled the zone, and it lays a perfect chip pass off the right wall and into the neutral zone for Coyle to skate into it. It's a breakaway, pump fake, brings the backhand, dunks it. It's 2-2. Coyle's got 2 on the game. I wanted that Hattie for him so bad it wouldn't end up happening. That's the period, by the way. The third period, more fun. It's a goalie battle. There's nothing to really point out all that much of. Few missed calls, things of that nature. But really, what are we breaking down at that point? That's just me bitching to the wind. We got the better side of the refereeing for the most part tonight. I really believe that. There were so many things in our favor tonight that either Markstrom stopped or the universe stopped. This should have been a win in my book. Not the first 40 minutes. Holy crap, not the first 40 minutes. But after that, with the game being as it was, as close as it was, should have been a win. Either way, we're going to overtime. Overtime is frantic. It's super fun for portions of it. The possession game starts going, which you kind of hate, but chances back and forth. It's all going to come to a peak when it's a Pasta McAvoy 2-on none, basically. And Pasta opts to wrist it 5-hole rather than pass. I'm not going to get mad at Pasta for shooting. It was a bounce that, when the save was made, allowed for a 3-on-1 the other way, and Kadri is able to bury the puck low glove on Omar. I see why people are upset with Pasta's decision here. I kind of get it. It feels like the pass is coming. He even does a little bit of twist to the wrist to kind of like try to open the legs up, make Markstrom think the pass is coming, and then just tries for a slow, like not slow, but a low, accurate shot. I kind of get it. I'm not going to lose my mind about this one because we talk about overpassing and screw. I kind of get it. Could it have been better? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm just not going to crush him for this one. It's a loss, though. It's a 3-2 overtime loss to the Calgary Flames that just feels so disappointed. You want to build some momentum here. You want to get back to being a winning team where you're winning 4 or 5, and this is just winnable games, and you're letting them go like this. It's not good. And again, I don't care about losing in overtime. I don't give a crap about the 3-on-3 gimmick hockey or the shootout or whatever. Those results aren't going to bother me as much. But the regulation time results here, that wasn't a good game for the Bruins. It wasn't. And I kind of wish that they had come out and been like, yeah, this is the first time I mentioned it in this video. Back-to-back, I get it, late nights. They got into Calgary at like 2 in the morning. Totally get that. I would have really loved for them to come out and be like, fuck this team. I can't believe we allowed you to have the game you had against us just a few weeks ago. That's not Bruins hockey. Let's show you Bruins hockey. I just don't feel like they ever really showed them that. And it would have been a nice, I don't know, gesture to see them kind of go after this team. Super physical, though. They were physical. I'll give them that. Game notes. Little game notes here. Nothing special. First of all, it feels like the guys already trust Lohrei really, really well. And that's awesome. A Lohrei-Mac pairing, until Lindholm or Grizz are back, and even then, there's some conversation to be had there, Lohrei and Mac should be working together. They still need to work out some kinks, don't get me wrong. Lohrai's not perfect, but that's a pairing that has a lot of potential. And if you can get them hitting their stride by playoffs, this defensive core looks a lot better. Looks a lot better. The only other game note I have is the third line is so bad, it's kind of crazy. And this has been an ongoing problem for well over a month now. They'll have a game here or there because the personnel changes so much. But every time we talk about the bottom 6 doing well, we're talking about the fourth line. We haven't talked about the third line looking good in well over a month, I'm pretty sure. Geeky's part of that, and I don't want to just crap all over Geeky, because again, I just want Geeky to succeed so bad. I'm just getting frustrated with some of the... He makes a ton of stupid decisions, too. It's just bad. But JVR, is 5-on-5 play has been really poor. It's been rough. It's been really rough. And I know JVR just had a couple of goals the other night, and there are certain games you can point out and be like, yeah, but... And I get that. for the most part, they get crushed by whatever line plays against them consistently throughout the game is the line on the other team that looks awesome. They look great. The Geeky line, when he's centering a line, isn't good. It's not good enough. And it's not good enough going against shelter competition, as we just saw on this homestand, a 7-game homestand that they did virtually nothing for the large majority of. We've talked about this literally just last video. The puzzle pieces, they aren't fitting. And so I think regardless, you're going to have a line that you don't love. And I get that. If you could find a way to make it work, though, because that line just sucks right now. They're really bad. Either way, this isn't the end of the world. Not a huge loss or anything like that. You got a point out of it. Get rested up. Go for Vancouver. Play up to Vancouver's level like you did last time. This playing down to teams is not enjoyable for anybody. It's not enjoyable. And this team's better than that. I think this team is better than the Calgary Flames, and I have no problem saying that out loud. Right? Go Bees. Go Bees!
Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, but it is time to give a shout out to our high quality inspectors. We've got our top line tier inspectors. We got Brock Nope, Han Slomo, Coach D, the Bugman, the Atomic Lizard, Bradley Johnson, Aaron Adams, Just Aaron, Darren Woodbury, Brett Arney, Pinsen, and Nick Zatrullo. Thank you guys so much for your support. It is greatly appreciated. And of course, massive props to these absolute stallions, the all-star tier inspectors. We have Bruins Smash, Jason Ozzy, Bruin Connolly, Kyle E. Coyote, Adam Ella, Jonathan Harvey, Joel, Abraxion, Jacob Pratt, Tupton D. Tashi, D.A. Kingery, The Only Newts, A Tasty Snack, Doots42, and Jeremy. You guys are absolute studs. I can't thank you enough, and go Bees.